For centuries now, this has been the home of the terrestrial fairies, an enchanted realm between the Earth and magic dimension, but the wizards destroyed it. It was a happy place.
And it will be again, Morgana. I'm glad you decided to stop seeking revenge against the wizards.
My hope is that Nebula will also be able to give up her thirst for vengeance.
Carrying around all of that hatred in your heart is a terrible way to live.
You were wise, Roxy.
Sometimes you just have to dive into the deep end. When it comes to Knacks, I do everything I can to represent a show fairly. I watch every episode available to me, and I do extensive research on the program as a whole. When it comes to Knacks Sample Platter, well, it's a lot quicker, a lot more loosey-goosey. I watch just the requested episode and look up any relevant trivia on that episode specifically. If I'm not that familiar with the show as a whole, I'll do a little research to catch up, but oftentimes I get a good enough impression from just that single episode. But today, I'm going to be talking about an episode of Winx Club, and that is a proper challenge to the format. One, Winx Club aired nearly a decade after I stopped watching Nickelodeon, airing between 2011 and 2014. Two, Winx Club is very serialized, which was a rarity for the channel. Most Nickelodeon shows are episodic, each episode telling a contained story that you can take on its own. You typically don't need extensive lore to understand what's going on in Rocco's modern life. Winx Club doesn't have that aspect, and is in fact packed with lore. A dozen different factions, more characters than it knows what to do with, shifting alliances, magic systems, and ancient histories. Many of these episodes begin in media res, and there's just a lot of soap opera to it all. Sure, you can say the same thing about the Last Airbender franchise, but the main difference is that I've actually watched the Last Airbender franchise. 3, Winx Club has a dedicated fan base in several different countries that will chew me up and spit me out if I get this wrong. And I get it. I can totally see how one might get invested in this show as a young person, following these characters over the years, shipping some of them and hating on others. So if you're a Winx Club fan, I'm gonna give it my best shot, but please realize that there are only so many hours in the day to learn about this franchise. Forgive me if I screw something up. Today we're looking at Season 4, Episode 24, The Wizard's Trap, known in other territories as The Day of Justice, the 102nd episode overall. I would do my usual thing of crediting directors and writers, but Winx Club doesn't tell you who wrote any individual episodes, just lists the entire writing staff in the end credits, which is bull, and credits show creator Eugenio Straffi as director of all 208 episodes, which is technically possible, but I strongly doubt to be true. Originally airing in its native country of Italy on November 9th, 2009, and then airing on Nickelodeon on July 22nd, 2012, The Wizard's Trap sees this season's villains, the Wizards of the Black Circle, on the ropes. Their plan to steal the magic of the fairies and use it to conquer Earth has seemingly failed thanks to the actions of the Winx Club, a group of school-age girls who turn into fairies to save the day, and the Specialists, student warriors and often the love interests of the Winx Club girls. The Wizards of the Black Circle now seek mercy, appealing to the court of Morgana, the queen of the Earth Fairy Kingdom of Tirnanog. However, this turns out to be an elaborate trap, the wizards giving Morgana the Black Circle, a ring that contains the stolen power of defeated fairies. No, I don't know why Morgana decides it's a good idea to put on an obviously evil artifact that the evil faction is named after, but when she does, it rips open a hole in reality, threatening to suck the Earth Fairies into another dimension where they'll be lost forever.
The Wizards of the Black Circle don't know what repentance is. You'll realize this when you spend eternity in the abyss!
Meanwhile, in the B-plot, the Specialists are tending to Dumon, one of the wizards whose powers of shapeshifting have become unstable. Dumon's being treated by Nabu, a wizard himself and the fiancée of Winx Club member Aisha, or Layla, depending on the dub. Nabu does his best to save the man, but Dumon goes mad from the magic, turning into Batman villain Man-Bat and attacking the Specialists, forcing Nabu's hand.
May Abram's shadow swallow the beast that takes refuge in you! I'll give you whatever you want! I can make all your wishes come true! I'm a powerful wizard!
Oh, shit. Dumon's super dead. As far as I can tell, Winx Club isn't the most bloodthirsty show out there. They will destroy a villain from time to time, but in a sort of Power Rangers way where your brain doesn't really register it as killing. This feels much more raw than that, partially because Dumont was genuinely begging for his life, and partially because our heroes were working desperately to save Dumont earlier, and having to take him out makes that a failure, not a victory. Or at least that's what the story beat probably should be, because at no point does Nabu or the other specialists express regret at this turn of events. The story just moves way too fast for that kind of reflection. As soon as Dumont is dust, the specialists run off to help the Winx Club at Tir na Nog. Oh, but don't worry, the episode took the time to have a scene where a cartoon rabbit orders a bunch of pizzas. You know, totally crucial plot stuff.
Thanks a lot. Have a nice day.
Well, Winx, it looks like Kiko's got everything under control.
Those pets are starting to worry me.
Again, I could be missing things. Maybe that regret is expressed in a later episode, though I doubt it. As for this episode, Dumont's death gets completely eclipsed by what happens next, because it turns out Nabu is too pure for this world, using his magic to try and seal up that dimensional rip. He succeeds, but it takes far too much out of him.
Please, Nabu. Please, don't leave me.
I'll never leave you, Aisha. Wherever you are, anytime, in any world, I'll always be with you. These eyes, Aisha, mustn't cry. I love you.
Ah, but wait, the Winx Club were given the Black Gift by the Ethereal Fairies, one of the gifts of destiny, a one-time spell that can bring a creature back from the dead. Oh, set up and payoff, how we love you. Things are gonna be okay, and one of the evil wizards manages to redirect the spell to a dead flower, wasting it. Ooh, we love us a failed Chekhov's gun. Absolutely savage. I don't know Nabu that well. This is literally my introduction to the character, and I have no clue what the fandom's perception of him is. I assume his tragic sacrifice is the reason this episode was commissioned, which bodes well for his reputation, but assessing how audiences felt about him and his death is a bit difficult to ascertain. Was this the Gen Z equivalent of Optimus Prime dying in the 1986 movie? If you were a big Winx Club fan, let me know. And unlike Optimus Prime, this death sticks. Even in a world of great magic, Nabu doesn't come back. There is a line suggesting that he might be in some kind of a magical coma instead of dead, but nah, he stays dead and gone for the rest of the show. Wait, hang on, do any of the Winx Club girls have healing magic? Let me just check. Wait, Bloom, you heal people. Why didn't you try to heal... Wait, hang on. Bloom, you heal people? Why didn't you try and heal Nabu? Like, maybe it wouldn't have worked, but it would make sense to at least try. Oh, right, we didn't have time for that because the cartoon rabbit ordered pizzas. Sorry, I got my priorities backwards. Nabu's death results in Aisha breaking up with the Winx Club in order to get revenge on the Wizards of the Black Circle, joining Nebula, the leader of the Royal Guard Fairies, who denounces Morgana's actions because, come on. The Wizard's Trap is definitely a sea change of an episode. I totally understand its importance within the larger franchise, but I'm not sure if it's, good or not. It feels like 2 episodes of plot crammed into one with little time to breathe. Dumont's death should have been a bigger deal, and the dimensional tear gets resolved pretty quickly. Certainly don't know how the episode scales with the rest of the series. It gives me a lot to ponder on without further context. For example, this episode leaves one of the show's 2 black characters dead and the other turning her back on the good guys by the end, and now I'm wondering just how well the show overall handles race. I've gotten hints that it's not great, but I can't possibly sort my thoughts on it at this stage of things. I promise, there will be a day when I sit down and start Winx Club from episode 1 and consume the entire franchise, all 8 seasons, the comics, the spin-offs, the movies, and come to my own conclusion as to this property's strengths and weaknesses. And if you're a huge Winx Club fan and want to give me some perspective, I'm all ears. I will give this show its due justice, many years from now when Knacks gets to 2011. But in the meantime, this was just a sample.